Hey friends, welcome to Ask Dr. Betters. I'm Danielle and I'm here with my granddad, Dr. Chuck F. Betters. Granddad, the question we have for you today is, when we are in heaven, will we be able to feel emotion or just always be happy? Emotions are what make us human.
Well, I have to disagree with the premise of your question. Emotions are not what make us human. What makes us human is the fact that we have a soul. Man, in contrast to animals, has a soul. A soul is what must be born again, created in the image and likeness of God. A soul is eternal. A soul is what defines us as human beings. We are body and soul, not just body. Now, what is a soul? A soul is our mind, our will, our intellect, and our emotions. When we die, we do not lose our soul. In fact, when we die before Christ comes, our soul is separated from our bodies and brought into the presence of the Lord. Now, one thing I know for sure, in heaven, there is great emotion. There is great joy. Luke 15:7, Jesus tells us in those very words that there is great joy in heaven over the salvation of even one soul. Great joy in heaven. Not just joy, great joy. That's emotion. When we die and our souls go to be in the presence of the Lord, that soul contains a will, intellect, and emotions that are glorified apart from our sinful bodies, our sinful flesh. Imagine your soul being glorified and perfected, never to sin again, never to experience pain or sorrow or tears or anger or malice or any of the sinful responses that characterize us as human beings when we are in our bodies. But when we're apart from our bodies and our souls are glorified in the presence of the Lord, we become with Jesus, now listen, and like Jesus. In fact, that is what is marked on our son's gravestone. Our son, who was lost to us when he was 16 years old. His grave marker says this: with Jesus, like Jesus. Now that means, like Jesus, he has no sin. Our souls are perfected. Our emotions are perfected. You know, when we have emotions today, they're not perfected. Our tears, our anger, it's not perfected. It's stained with sin. Our intellects are stained with sin. Our wills are stained with sin. But when they are separated from the body and brought into the presence of the Lord, glorified in the presence of Jesus, to become with Jesus and like Jesus, they are no longer stained or stenched with sin. They're perfected. What does that look like? I don't have a clue. Eye is not seen, ear is not heard, nor is it entered into the hearts of men the things that God has prepared for those who love him. What does eternal joy look like? I don't know. But I do know this: it's unstained by sin. It's perfected. What does an unstained intellect look like? What does unstained thinking look like? I don't know. But I do know this: when it's unstained by sin, it's perfected. Whatever that is, we call it heaven. So in heaven, will we have emotions? Of course we will. But they'll be perfected emotions, perfected joy. perfected wills, perfected intellect. In other words, perfected souls. Now there's coming a day when Jesus returns that he will take out of the graves those bodies that have been buried. He will reunite them with those glorified souls that are in the presence of the Lord into one beautiful, glorified entity, body and soul. So that just as Jesus is body and soul, we will be body and soul. But here's the key: glorified in the presence of God, unstained, unmarked by sin, unmarked by sinful emotions, unmarked by the sinful flesh, because we will be perfected in God's glory. So, the premise of your question is, well, we'll be happy in heaven, but does that mean we'll experience emotion in heaven? Happiness is an emotion. Joy is an emotion. But imagine it perfected. Imagine it unstained by sin. What does stained emotion look like? Well, anger, malice. What does unstained intellect look like? Faulty thinking, sinful lust. What does an unstained will look like? Making bad choices, making bad decisions. Those are stained. That's a stained will. An unstained will would be just the opposite. And that's why in Colossians chapter 3, we're told to put off the old man, to put on the new man. That's a struggle we will have for the rest of our carnal lives. But when we enter into heaven, when the soul is separated from the body and brought into the presence of the Lord, it is perfected there. Our wills, our minds, our intellect, our choices, and yes, our emotions will all be glorified in that day, awaiting the resurrection, when those same souls, glorified in the presence of God, will receive our resurrected bodies, glorified in the presence of God. What a day of rejoicing that will be. That's what we sing, right? What a day of rejoicing that will be when we all see Jesus. What a day of rejoicing